NASCAR is currently in full crisis mode. The Bristol night race was meant to be a duel of the champions. Instead, it devolved into a war zone of shattered ambitions, allegations, and one scandal that is rocking the sport to its foundation. Playoff drivers are enraged, crew chiefs are pointing fingers, and now, NASCAR's very regulations are under scrutiny following what many fans describe the most chaotic playoff race in years. Let's start with the obvious. Tire pandemonium has back in full force. This was more than simply a slick track catastrophe. This was absolute pandemonium. Goodyear had to bring in extra tires in the middle of the race to keep teams together. Drivers were running out of rubber toward the finish, with some having no sets left with laps remaining. And you could feel the anxiety in every pit box, every crew radio call, and most importantly, in the eyes of the drivers striving to stay in the playoffs. Christopher Bell may have ended the night in victory lane, but the true story is what almost occurred, and what several drivers believe should have happened. With Bell's victory, Joe Gibbs Racing has swept the round of 16, but don't be fooled. Behind the scenes, things were anything but clean. Simply ask Brad Keselowski. Keselowski was ahead when the final caution came. He played it smart, pitted for new tires, lined up on the outside, and prepared to battle. However, the restart escalated into a demolition derby. Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar lost their hold and pushed up the track. Bell, untouched, slipped cleanly through on the inside. Keselowski? He was boxed in and buried, but he wasn't finished yet. He caught Bell again, and with the white flag waving, he attempted the conventional bump and run, the same maneuver that made Bristol famous. "I hit him, and it didn't do anything," Keselowski exclaimed, still fuming. "We did all the right moves and just kinda got screwed on the last restart." That bump should have pushed Bell up the track. Instead, Bell's automobile handled it like a tank. No movement, no drama, simply a simple victory. Or was it? Some fans, including a few insiders, are muttering about the Gibbs car's setups. How did Bell survive a bump and run that would have sent any other car sliding? Why did Ty Gibbs lead for 200 laps and then blow a pit stop with 4 laps to go? Why was Denny Hamlin's wheel flying off again just when it needed the most? You cannot overlook the coincidence. JGR had all the speed, strength, and luck, even as pandemonium struck everyone else. Then there's the rulebook. Denny Hamlin lost a wheel during the race, which, according to NASCAR rules, results in sanctions. 2 key pit crew members have left, but not in Bristol. Joe Gibbs Racing legitimately deferred the punishment for the following 2 races. That's correct. NASCAR allowed them to choose when to fulfill their penalty. So let me get this straight. If a playoff driver loses a wheel during a race, endangering the field, he gets to choose which playoff races he has his entire pit crew for. That is hardly racing justice. That's strategy loophole racing, and it's making headlines worldwide. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott might have stated it best. After crashing in a desperate attempt to conserve tires, he was afraid his season was lost. "I thought our season was over," Elliott confessed. "I just feel like, yeah, you're kind of in a spot where, man, we really didn't deserve to be here based on the week before." Even though Elliott made it through, he didn't hide his emotions. He was aware that his team lacked the necessary skills to advance, and honestly, that kind of genuine honesty stands out when the rest of the field is spinning things and avoiding controversy. Then there are the heartbreakers. Carson Hocevar, who took the lead late but ran out of tires. Ty Gibbs led 201 laps until failing to finish on pit road. Alex Bowman needed to win to advance but ran out of tires on the penultimate restart. All out. All were watching their season burn from the pit box. It's difficult to call this a race. It was a brawl, controlled pandemonium on a tire knife's edge. In the midst of it all, Joe Gibbs Racing emerged unscathed, yet again. What about the fans? They are not buying it. Not after the wreckage, not after the pit road mistakes, and certainly not after 3 consecutive wins by the same organization during the same playoff round, and under rules that appear to change depending on which team you're talking about. This is more than simply lousy optics. NASCAR is facing a full-fledged credibility crisis. Simply listen to the tone of the drivers. Brad Keselowski didn't even bother to hide his displeasure. Just irritating. "We had a wonderful car, a great plan, and were in position to win. But we just threw the dice and didn't get any good results." He hasn't won in almost 50 races, but this one cut deeper. This was intended to be the moment when RFK Racing made its breakthrough. Instead, he was pushed aside in a flurry of pandemonium as Bell cruised to victory as if the deck was already stacked. And don't forget what Bell said, or didn't say, after the race. He hailed the victory, complimented his team, and rarely mentioned the chaos that had led to it. There is a quiet there, a serene confidence that indicates either championship poise or knowledge that the rest of the field lacks. Meanwhile, teams outside of the JGR bubble are left scrambling. Hendrick Motorsports is in disarray. Kyle Larson wrecked. William Byron's automobile was wrecked. Alex Bowman's playoff chances ended right there under the lights, and Chase Elliott? He walked away stunned, even though he had made it through. "It wasn't the most pleasant hour and a half of my life," Elliott added, having to watch the ending unfold on TV alongside the rest of us. "We got really lucky with that, no question." Let me reiterate that. Extremely fortunate. Not good enough, not intelligent enough, simply lucky. That does not sound like a sport based on tenacity and performance. This sounds like a lottery method masquerading as a playoff format. And what does the fact that your most popular driver believes his team did not deserve to advance say about the quality of the competition? Now look at the numbers. 14 cautions. There have been 36 lead changes, 14 drivers led laps. Despite this, the winner came from the same shop that has been making news for 3 weeks in a row. That is not variety. That is not equivalency. That is a pattern. Even Denny Hamlin, the most outspoken advocate for increased tire wear this season, became entangled in the chaos. He desired anarchy. He received it. But it came at a price, one that could cost him the next round. His automobile lost a wheel. The rules are clear. That is a safety violation. But instead of serving the ban in Bristol, where it counted the most, JGR just responded, "We'll take the hit later." Let me ask you, what other sport allows you to set your own punishment? Imagine a quarterback being flagged for a late hit and telling the referee, "I'll take the 15-yard penalty next game." This is ludicrous, but in NASCAR, it's happening, and it's ripping the fan base apart. There is a narrow line between strategy and exploitation, between intelligent racing and gaming the system. And right now, that boundary is being obliterated in real time by teams who understand how to bend the rules without breaking them. And the worst part? NASCAR is allowing it to happen. That is why fans are outraged. That is why playoff drivers are lashing out. Because the racing in Bristol wasn't only ferocious, it felt manipulated, stacked. When the dust settled, the persons who battled the hardest, Keselowski, Hocevar, Bowman, and Gibbs, were left with nothing, while the same familiar faces danced down victory lane. So now we'll move on. The cut line has changed, 4 drivers have left, the second round begins, and the intensity only builds. However, there is a cloud over this championship, one made out of shredded tires, deferred penalties, and growing discontent. The question remains, will NASCAR address systemic flaws, or are we witnessing the playoffs as a high-speed farce? You tell me. Is this racing? Is it something else entirely? Please let me know in the comments.